a citizen speaking as they were discussing the MAPS 3 idea. And as you pointed out earlier, that last Tuesday in council, they decided that this next Tuesday in council, they would vote to take it to the vote of the people on December the 8th. And so we have a little bit of time here. I wanted to go over some things because I just find it incredible. You gave me a statistic from December of 1992. Would you repeat that, please?
Well, Chief Sam Gonzalez actually did his study in the early spring of 93, but the numbers were from December of 92. The number of patrol officers we had out there actually answering calls for 911 calls for service is, depending on whose numbers you look at and which way they want to skew them, anywhere from 50 to 120 fewer today than they were at that time.
And that was in 93?
Yes, ma'am.
So has it escalated even beyond that?
The calls for service?
Well, no, or we just haven't done another study.
Yeah. No, well, compared to where we're at today.
Yes.
As to where we were in 92, those are the numbers.
Those are the numbers. So you have kept score as we go.
And in fact, I confirmed those just before I came in today.
Well, thank you for doing that. So, the reason being, when you make a presentation to council and you look some former firefighters in the face, or you look at people that claim to be supporters of the FOP or whatever, the members of council, and you look them in the face and you say, hey, we're 50 to 120 people down right now, and they don't respond, how does that make you feel, or what's next?
Well, first of all, let me explain, Glenn, that I don't take any of these issues personally. And I privately, some of those members of that horseshoe are I consider as friends. We have a difference of opinion here, obviously. I think some of those people are very good people, and they've been sold a bill of goods.
By whom?
I'll let your listeners make a determination on that. But this is one of the things that I heard some of those members of the council say. Okay. That if we do this and we can grow the city with maps, and that will increase the tax base, and then we can fix the shortages in public safety and public works and the essential city services. Well, that could be true. But let's look at the history. The initial maps, which was 1993, had a lot of revenue-generating measures in it. The entire Bricktown district, all of those things. How much have we grown public safety or city employees from those?
And answer that. How much have we grown?
None whatsoever. And when you look at the projects that are in this current maps, I defy anyone to tell me, or to pick one of those that is a revenue generator. There are none. There simply are none.
Well, it's that we're going to add more. And the more you have, the more you have to take care of.
Absolutely. In discussions with the administration of the police department, that is a genuine concern on their part. Is you're going to have these hiking trails, you're going to have this downtown park, you're going to have these other things, which is going to require additional police service. We are stretched so absolutely thin now, we can't handle what we have. Where in the world are these officers going to come from?
And as I recall, I don't really want to think about this, but after Bricktown was created and it became popular, there was a rash of incidents there, and we needed to pull more officers to Bricktown because we had more concentrated people.
Yes, as I addressed earlier, that's one of the places that those officers that are not answering 911 calls now have come from. Mm-hmm. And that's a realistic view. You've got an entertainment district with a lot of bars, a lot of alcohol, people that don't act maybe the way they ought to always act, which gives cause for police intervention. And you're going to have some similar things in these other, I'm not going to say that our downtown park would be Central Park, but figure out how many officers New York City uses to police Central Park. It's more officers than we have on this department.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, ma'am.
How many officers do we have in our department?
Authorized strength is roughly 1,035. Now, realistically, we are never at that number because you have officers retire or resign, and then you have to have an academy that runs that takes several months, so there's a lag time. So we're never really at that number. but that's the authorized strength.
And did Oklahoma City suffer like the Highway Patrol in Norman, where they didn't have the money to have the academy? If we had that situation in Oklahoma City?
Well, there's absolutely no money available for that. As a matter of fact, this last week, interestingly enough, Tuesday, right after we were told MAPS was a wonderful thing and we could afford it, Mr. Couch, the city manager, met with all these department heads requesting mid-year budget cuts because of budget shortfalls. And for the police department, that meant $2.1 million. Now, I understand all department heads, including Chief City, are looking at how can we cut our budget. Realistically, I'm not sure where you can cut the police budget.
I was going to say, you won't cut officers, will you?
Well, it is my understanding that Mr. Couch told his department heads he wanted a 2% cut across the board. That's around $2 million for the police department. That's around $2 million for the fire department. Where they ultimately make cuts, or if they make cuts, I couldn't tell you.
So is your message to the council and to the citizens, MAPS 3, sure, but maybe not now?
Well, I'm not so sure not now, because we're not saying any of these projects are not worthwhile and not good things. But what are our priorities? If we want to, and our message was initially, if you want to do these things, let's do some of them maybe. But without question, we need an increase in public safety personnel, and for that matter, across the board, probably all city personnel.
And so, what can we do to make sure that the citizens understand the complete picture? I know you're speaking out, but what can I do? What can other people do?
Well, I would recommend that no matter where one of your listeners stands on this issue, they contact their city council person and have them explain to them what their thought process is. And if they don't agree with that council person, let them know why they don't.
Would you rather see, this is kind of a hard question. Would you rather see it stopped at the council level or defeated at the city-wide level?
We'd absolutely prefer the council not to put this before the voters, and that's really all we've asked for, Gwen. Step back, take a look at this. Let's figure out how we can include some funding for these essential city services, and when you develop that package, present that to the people and see if they're willing to do that.
What's to keep the council from re-looking at this and maybe adding in public safety as a component of MAPS?
There's absolutely no bar there, other than their own reluctance.
And why are they reluctant? Why would you be reluctant against safety?
I can't answer that. Perhaps they could answer it for your listeners. I can't speak for them.
The P stands for projects, I guess, and not for police. Well, let's add another P. Metropolitan area projects and police. How about that?
We'd go for that.
So, other than the fact that you were down in numbers, are policemen paid enough? Do we reward them enough?
Well, our salaries are figured on a survey basis of 10 other cities, comparable cities, and our officers get the average, not the top, but the average of what those cities average out to. That's been a long-standing practice for both police and fire in this city. I don't know that you can argue whether a policeman is paid too much or paid too little. That's an individual choice by, I might have one opinion, you might have another, and all of your listeners may have other opinions. But the bottom line is that's a pretty accepted standard of how you determine what's a fair wage. And I offer this is, are your police officers worth less than a police officer in Austin, Texas, or Fort Worth, or St. Louis, Missouri, or any of the other cities that are in that survey?
Do you have any idea what fraction of a penny or a penny it would take of the MAPS proposal to bring us up to a major league city thing? And we only have about 45 seconds left.
As far as the MAPS improvements or public safety?
Public safety.
Well, I'll just tell you that $100,000 is generated annually by every penny of sales tax. Those are Mr. Couch's numbers. The police department budget is just slightly over $100,000. So you figure out how much it would take to right now, we did a study 2 years ago that the city commission that said we're at least 200 officers below where we ought to be. And that number grows exponentially every year. If you project it out to 2018, when this match would end, we're going to be about 900 officers below where we ought to be.
Okay, President Hensley, here's a challenge.